Hello and welcome back to It's Just a Podcast, and I have Carl McSorley with us.
Hiya.
And we're about to do Jaws, The Revenge, and I'm pressing play. 3, 2, 1, boom. So yesterday we did Jaws 3D, and considering we've only done 2 podcasts together this year, to do 2 in 48 hours and go and see Ed Edmondson last night, who was absolutely brilliant. We're in the middle of a storm at the moment. So if there's any technical difficulties, let's just blame the storm. So, right, it's not the first time Jaws The Revenge has been a podcast. It is one of the original series from a couple of years ago, just after the aftermath of film Fast Forward Reviews with Jack. I had actually did the podcast prior to writing Jack's script for it, so that's Jaws is not the first one, but this is the new one, so it will have brackets, Jaws 2023, as we fizzle up Jaws The Revenge on the screen.
I mean, this time it's personal.
This time, this also looks like a miniature right now, coming in.
And that's the first time they've done the title as well, isn't it? The way they've done there, like red.
I think,
font.
well, Jaws has always been a cushion with font, like, but it's quite, red's a very hard font. Mario Van Peebles. This has a bigger cast. I think this is better than Jaws 3. This is also probably my most exposure to Jaws after Jaws as a kid. It's Christmas film as well. We're having a Christmas vibe here. I think this has one of the most brutal deaths.
Hold on a minute.
What?
Isn't it a Christmas film?
They're singing Christmas carols out there, and it's all set around Christmas. So, take your little argument away.
Doesn't count. It's in the Bahamas.
Yeah, whatever. This starting bit here, when the younger brother of the Brodies gets killed, it's brutal. It's one of the brutalest deaths of the series, I think, as well.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he'd been dancing with death since he was a young child, so it was going to come at some point.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah, you'd think he would have stayed away from the water,
I mean, after the disaster of the third one, to do a Jaws The Revenge and it being a bigger cast, we've got Michael Caine in here. We've got Lauren Gray, whatever she's called, returning from the original. But you've also got the guy who was in The Last Starfighter leading this, and also Mario Van Peebles as well. So there's a big cast. And the little girl in it, who obviously unfortunately lost her life not long after filming this, who was known for the voice of Land Before Time as well.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one, though, because, obviously the third one did make some money, not so bad. And it's a terrible film, as we established. But that being said, it must have been quite a little bit of a task to get all these names attached to a film that, was clearly losing its touch.
But again, the time this was made, Universal Studios, franchises, marketing, again, DVD would have really probably VHS would have been a big thing by this point, because I think when Jaws 3 came along, VHS was a thing, but by this point, it's huge. You know what I mean? And it's, people don't realise back then when it would see at the cinema and then VHS and stuff like that, films wouldn't come out within 6 months. It would take up to 2 years to get across to England and all that, you know what I mean? And it would take time, and people would find its audience. But Jaws is Jaws. It's a 4-letter word that you say Jaws, you think of a shark. You don't think of your mouth.
True.
You know what I mean? It's like what I said in another video the other day. It's like if you think of Corey Feldman, and you go, right, you could say probably 70% to 80% of the fucking human population know who Corey Feldman is because of the Goonies and the Gremlins, just because of how much they are in generations in pop culture. How, you know what I mean? It's kind of, I was just talking in that sense where you go, Jaws, I would say 90% of the planet knows what fucking Jaws is.
True. Oh, it's interesting that you went with Goonies and Gremlins, whereas personally I feel like Corey Feldman is straight up Lost Boys.
Well, the thing is, I'm talking about as a kids and age and growing up and stuff like that. Goonies is Goonies and Gremlins are the two that are monumentally worldwide known, and kids can be brought up on it.
True.
But here we go, Christmas presents, and we also get a few cameos. I think when he goes in here, obviously I think she's the original secretary, and then we've just seen Roy Schneider's face, who technically,
nice portrait.
well, he's technically in this film, even though it's stock footage. I mean, it's a naughty trick, but you know he's there, and he would have got a paycheck over it.
Yeah, that's true. It does feel like they know this is going to be the last one.
Well,
They're kind of pulling it all out now, aren't they?
Well, the thing is,
it's sure, like I say, in there a little bit. The secretary there will bring in Ellen Brody back, so it almost feels like they almost know themselves that this is the last hurrah.
yeah, it is. I mean, it is true as well. I mean, the end of the day, the thing with the log as well. Like, you remember in the first movie when Roy Schneider's got this like kind of fucking look about the log, and like, what the fuck's the log? Is the log evil? You know, and the log kind of comes back in here when he goes out there to sort a log out. But I think this first death, I think this is a pure product of the studios at Universal, especially if you go on like the back lot tour and all that kind of thing. It doesn't feel like this was shot in Amity when they get to. I don't think this is shot in Amity at all. I think this is a pure product of the back lot here.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, yeah.
But yeah, look, they're singing Christmas carols, so you're going to tell me it's not a Christmas film, like, yeah? Is that what you're going to say?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The only thing, if anyone said to me, George Revenge, you know, what do you remember? I will be very honest. The only thing I strictly remember about this film was Michael Caine in his airplane getting chewed up. Not him, the airplane.
Michael.
So in this particular instance, I would say that, okay, I'll go on record. It's just feeling very Christmassy right now.
Well, I mean, Michael Caine's got on record that said he's never seen the film, but have you seen My House? He's notoriously known to take it for a picture.
Hold on a minute. I did say Michael Caine there, didn't I? I mean, Michael Caine.
But Michael Caine's got on record to say, like, you know what I mean? He took the money at that time. He was taking them kind of monies, you know. He didn't really have a much of resurgence until, like, you know, Nolan's and the Harry Browns and all that. He got this resurgence, but he did go quite dark after this for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, I think this would have worked. I would have think this would have worked if this was the same actor from Number 3.
Well, this is it. I mean, like I say, you're talking about like the timeline, how long it takes for films. I mean, as the everyday film goer, you know, if you consider, you know, the film came out, then took best part of a year, maybe 2 years, to then come out for VHS, whatever. That might be the first time people see it, and then this comes out a couple of years later. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think most film buffs will know, but a lot of people would just be like, oh yeah, that's the same guy, or at least the same character, so I don't really like pull it up that much.
Yeah. I mean, I will take that credit, but I mean, I do think that maybe this just feels like it was shot on a backlot, even though that is a really big, nice set dress behind him and all that. I think it's Hollywood magic here.
I think we've established it doesn't feel like Amity, though. That's the thing.
Well, the thing is, it's the shark here, because again, him getting his whole fucking arm ripped off, I think, again, it's one of the most brutal deaths of the series.
Yeah.
And it just comes out of nowhere. I don't think it's, you know, dude. Here it comes. And
the eyes.
You know, and it's fast, it's quick, it's bloody. I mean, the bit with the blood in there did look like it was more close to daylight, but he's got a fucking arm missing.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell his arm's in there, like, but you know, I'm just, you know, I know it's just Phil.
He's not Carl Weathers, man. Shut up, man. I'd always mind.
I feel like I don't know what the right word would be, but I feel it's a bit cheap, you know, because it's happened too easy and too quick. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm not being funny, but like, again, we're going back to logics, and with logic coming in, that shark's not jumping out there, you know?
No, it's clever editing. It's kind of like, it's almost slasher kind of edits, you know what I mean? Where you don't really know what's going on, shark attack, but again, as we'll see with the shark in this one, that is not a bad little, you know, I mean, there's an homage to the original as well, the screaming and the fucking drown it out. But when we see the shark, they don't really. They just show the shark playing and sailing in the fucking waters of the Bahamas in a minute. But let's talk about the biggest thing here, though. We're back at Amity. He's just been murdered. He's the youngest brother. There's the log again. The log survived. The mother decides to move to the Bahamas to with her other son near water, rather than just not like stay fucking clear of water, right?
Yeah.
She develops a bit of a psychological, mental like link between the shark, and the shark works out the plan and moves and beats the fucking airplane.
Yeah. But this is it. It's now become essentially almost like a Sharknado film, right? It's taken that level to another degree where it's almost like slapstick comedy to
I mean, that
what it would have been compared to the first one, anyway.
Well, that guy there as well, that could have been Hawkins. Hawkins could have had a little bit of a cameo between he couldn't do the shift passing over. Because, I mean, the second movie did that well where they kept the original cast, but I don't think she's done a film since this. I think to her as well, this is her retirement. The actress.
Yeah. Now, I mean, to be fair, I thought, I'll have a look on IMDb, you know, let's see some little facts and figures now. And I've kept it on here. I haven't actually seen anything, because the first thing I noticed was quotes. Now, this is going to shock you, but the first thing, I haven't even clicked on the actual section yet, the first one under the quotes is shark.
Raw.
And the quote is raw. I mean, what the fuck's that? Come on.
Well, so there's a couple of
just playing too much.
Now that's got to be the same house as used in the original movie. There, that is definitely Amity. That is just too good, and that is the slapper. That's the woman who slaps him. That's.
Oh yeah.
And then she is in the original. Yeah, and she is in the original on the far left as well. So I think there's some connection to Amityville here. Amity. But yeah, Shark Raw was used in Fast Forward Reviews with Jack. Obviously, that was the first thing that popped up when I did my research for the review on that. But yeah, that's as much as I would say it was safe when he was murdered. I think there has been some filming. I mean, the end of the day, on location film in the Bahamas, like, all right, that's not going to be cheap. And as we can see with this, they do use a lot of underwater filming in this one. So
yeah, I mean, it definitely picks up a little bit in terms of, let's say, you're talking like in the levels of how good these films are. I mean, Jaws, it kind of almost goes in perfect sync. So it's Jaws 1, Jaws 2, but then this one, even though we haven't finished it entirely, I might change my mind, but this is definitely a step up from number 3. So,
production-wise, yeah, it is. I mean, it's, you know, it's got...
It's like I say, it's hitting home. It's giving us the nostalgia. It's giving us all these extra characters that we don't really need, but it just takes you back to Amityville. Amity, I keep going to say that now. Whether it be through the obviously location or even just simply having those little characters back in.
Yeah.
No, it just takes it back to the original source again.
Well, you keep talking. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah. Let's see, folks. What have we got here today? So, just to make it a bit more interesting, I thought I'd come up with some alternative version for Jaws: The Revenge. And my notes state here that in the UK cinema, it was cut by 37 seconds to get a PG rating, with heavy edits to show death, and the shots of blood and bodies in the shark's mouth during the attack. So, you know, I don't know.
Hello, I'm back.
Particularly made too much of a difference. Hello, you're back.
Just
mentioning about the UK edition to this movie when it came out in the cinema, that it is 37 seconds shorter, just to get a PG rating, and it's mostly to do with Sean's death and how much it shortens that down.
Well,
although based on this Blu-ray, I don't think there was any really gory there compared to what we've seen in the past, but you know.
Well, we will be watching the alternative ending for that as well, which will change the time. Dennis Quaid at this time would have been in a space era, refused it. But this guy, The Last Starfighter, it's known over here. but it's never seen the light of day since VHS. So he kind of had his little like kind of role as a kid. I always thought he was the same actor who appears in Crocodile Dundee 2 and Batteries Not Included, but that is the same actor, but it's not this actor.
Right.
And we're done. Obviously, open a funeral as well. Pretty bleak. So again, Hawkins could have had, been in here again, but obviously they would have reached out to the cast, but they might have just flown them in. You never know, man. There you go, Rob Schneider, Sepatone effect on here. Yeah. So obviously flashbacks. It's a bit of a weird choice to go that negative on the cover colour.
But even the editing, that just seemed like it didn't really sell it as a flashback, really.
I mean...
it just felt like a weird edit choice, but it was like, well, we're going to show you this now just to give you a little bit of a trip to nostalgia.
I mean, that does feel like Amityville. Hey, they're karate chopping my fences. I thought that's a big ass lollipop, like.
Well, we do sell those in certain museums in the northeast, which you'll find that they only get in about half of them, and then kids get bored. I never understood them. Yeah, sure, it looks nice, but
look at that guy in the background. Look at that. He's got like a panel up the door or something. He's staring out just behind the head. That was weird.
Yeah. Hey, it's a local creep, that's all. We've all got one.
So the idea and the plan is for them to move to the Bahamas here.
The thing is, though, they came from New York, didn't they?
Yes, they were not.
So to me, logically, wouldn't that be like, what it is? I'm sick of sharks. I'm sick of this whole thing about sharks. I'm going to go back to where I came from, New York. Like you say, to go to the Bahamas just seemed like let's go to another water-infested environment.
Well, the thing is, we're here as well, using the barge. The barge is used in the original film, isn't it? It's where they have that conversation with the mayor and the mayor blocks it. But again, you do that, and you showcase the backdrop, you know what I mean, in there. But so I think it definitely has been filmed around Amity. But again, you're not going to see Cable Junction. And then, as me as a kid, there's that fucking log again.
Yeah.
What's with the log?
Hey, listen, that log, it really did make a difference.
Well, here we go. We've got, obviously, Metal Kane comes into here as well. I'm just saying beep, and obviously there you go. We're in the Bahamas. To me as well, at the time, I would have seen this, and then I would have seen stuff like Police Academy 5, Mission to Miami, and just seemed to be like the place to be for water. You know what I mean? That tropical blue thing,
Yeah.
So I'm not going to knock how much this was a part of my childhood. It's because it'll be the one I had fully taped off the television, because I can definitely remember, adverts in it where it's you would have the typical TV still, really bad still in the name of the film, then the adverts would roll in, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's most definitely going to be some critiquing going on later on, but that being said, I think that's one of the things about the best thing about nostalgia when it comes to films is that they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be a key moment where you think, I remember that. I remember watching that on VHS, or getting excited to seeing the trailer on the rented VHS you're just getting when you see the little couple of trailers beforehand. So I do think they have a place in cinema history, but I think for all intents and purposes, again, which I mentioned in the last film, is that they're starting to severely run out of ideas, and I'm not quite sure what's driving them to keep doing Jaws films.
They're pulling the big guns. Michael Caine, obviously the cast, back on location at Amity, or Martha's Vineyard as it is known, going to the Bahamas. Mario Van Peebles, who is a very, very talented movie maker as well, because Mario Van Peebles would have made New Jack City not long after this, or around here, you know what I mean? So he's getting his fingers in the pie here a bit. But then the script, Who's gonna fucking believe the shark goes to the Bahamas?
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, it is just. Again, we're talking parody in the first film now.
Yeah.
The first film is literally the only Jaws film there is.
Well, that's it.
Just kind of like comedy versions of it.
It's like, are you trying? I mean, if the other kid had died of another circumstances and there was just a tragic death, and then she moves here, and then there's a shark, but then it's like kind of like it's time, it's personal. So, you know, they are essentially saying that the shark is back. You know.
Yeah. Word around the town
and
that
Brody
killed someone, cousin, brother, sister's father. So obviously this is clearly a revenge tour to get Ellen Brody out of action.
A bit of credit as well. I think the music's quite creepy in this. I don't think the music gets enough credit because I don't have it on vinyl, but it's that sort of chime. It's sort of, you know, it's a new score. It's got the classic John Williams there, but it's just that you know, when they look at the water from afar and it's just that little chiming noise, I find quite sinister in a way.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't realise as well that Lorraine Gary actually came out of retirement for this.
Yeah, I was.
This would be her actual last film she did.
And I think it's the kid's last film as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because she died not long after that, so.
Yeah.
And then there we go. Without knowing, there's a shark as well. Subliminally doesn't look like it, but it kind of is, and get a bit of Cool Running vibes as well at this films. You know, you see at the same time because, like, at the end of the day, you go, oh well, you wouldn't see Cool Runs, but like when you're a kid in a VHS shop and you grab a fucking whole load of films. You don't like work on the years, you know what I mean? They're just there. It's just available. So, you know, if you're any '80s kid, you're like, oh, but here we go. Out swimming. That's clearly a swimming pool. Sorry. And she's just got again. It's the chime there that it's in the back of my mind. But at the end of the day, if you were retired and someone came up to you and you would have got a paycheck, you know what I mean?
You say that, but Roy Schneider wouldn't.
Roy Schneider, though, probably would have been offered it because he wasn't dead until this film.
Well, funny you should say that, because I have a fact for you.
Okay.
Roy Schneider was in fact offered a cameo, but he declined, stating Satan himself could not get me to do Jaws Part 4. Reportedly, Schneider had accepted a big part. The shark would have killed the character at the start of the movie, and the end result has Schneider in the movie through archive footage, as what we already saw earlier.
Well, that makes sense.
He offered it and he declined it, even though he said, if you put me in it, kill me off. Which I feel would have been a better move.
That would have been a better start.
That would have been a better move compared to the younger son, 100%.
And here we go. Submarine, but unlike Jaws 3, it is a working submarine. You've got to give the film credit here for underwater filming.
Yeah, oh, they're trying.
But obviously, there's no surprise with the shark when it eventually appears. And then we get the introduction of Mario Van Peebles, who I think is great in this. And obviously, the alternative ending, which one you watch, depending on if you got a question, you went, is Mario Van Peebles dead at the end of Jaws? It depends on which version you watch.
Yeah.
But the shark turns up in a minute. I don't think it hangs around. It's just like...
No, I think that was one of the biggest problems with the third one, is that there's just so much going on, so many different characters, and although it feels like a bit of an oxymoron comment to make, because one of the best things about Jaws is that you don't need to see the shark all the time to know he's there. But with that, it just became like less and less of a Jaws film, and you just wanted to see a shark by that point. You think Jaws 3 is so detached from the series, in my opinion, that you're just sitting there waiting to see a shark, where that's one of the benefits of Jaws, is that you're not actually needing to want to see the shark, you're just there to enjoy the ride, and it just happened to show up when he does.
I mean, when we talked about Jaws yesterday, we said that obviously, like, take the Brodies out of it, and then obviously it's just a victim of 3D. But you know,
Yeah.
on here, the barge, obviously they probably would have had to make 2 barges, for how big this set is, and that's filmed on the real ocean. That isn't CG, or it might be,
Yeah.
again, if you look at how perfect that timeline is, it just depends. But we'll look at when we see the deleted scenes or the alternative ending, of because look at the perfect horizon all the way around. And it's
Yeah. This feels very like a Jaws film. Like, you do feel like this is...
There's a
you
Christmas
could be on
tree,
Yoka
and they're
and
giving
all
Christmas presents. Just saying. You're not going to have it, are you?
What's that?
You're not going to take it that Jaws is a Christmas film?
I would go as far as saying, yeah, okay, it's a Christmas film, but in the same respect that I feel like Die Hard's a Christmas film. It is, but at the same time, let's be fair, I could see the argument. I could see why people say it's not really a Christmas film. But that being said, you've got Christmas trees, you've had carols. I just feel like it's weird when you think of Bahamas, you don't think of Christmas. And that's nothing against the folks who live in the Bahamas. I'm sure they all celebrate Christmas. But I think of the Christmas film, I think of Gremlins, I think of snow, dark small town, Christmas tree and lights.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you mentioned this, or we talked about before about people reappearing from the first film. I'm sorry if I did mishear it, but I've just fact-checked that Murray Hamilton was asked to reply to role of the mayor. Sadly, he passed away before the film started. So that would have been another face that would have seen.
He had a troubled life though, didn't he? Because obviously his wife died during the film. Was it the second one where he had to... They made the film work around him and what he needed? Or his wife was ill at the time as well. So he was quite cursed, I would say. Right, I'm going to go bugger off again, so... Yeah.
Alright. So far, we're getting definitely more of a Jaws film, though. I think, rightly so. I mean, obviously, I think I will keep referring back to the third one being a terrible film. But it just didn't feel like a Jaws film. This one does, whether it's due to the actual fact of having Louis and Gary back, or whether it's to do with the shot, because the shots are even better than Jaws 3. I mean, there's light, you can see, you feel like the shark is going on. We've just seen the shark there on screen, and that looks way, way more convincing than the shoddy models that we got from the third one. So I think automatically this reprises as a better movie than the third one, but I would stand and say that Jaws is probably almost like, I feel like Saw is a fantastic standalone film and has no need to have any sequels. It starts and it finishes exactly where it meant to.
I'm gonna shit myself.
They're always coming back for money. Are you back?
Oh yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. But I was just saying, so like some films, Mason, are like, to me, Saw is a fantastic modern day horror. I'm very hard to please when it comes to horror film, but I feel like with that film, it starts and finishes, and that's it. You don't need anything else. The fact that we're on like Saw 7 now is a bit mental for me.
So where the fuck are you living?
I don't particularly.
Where the fuck are you living? Saw 7.
What's the new Saw number? I don't know. I'd like to say that. My point being is that I gave up on the Saw films after the second one. So which one are we on now? Do you know?
10.
10?
Yeah.
That's even more ridiculous.
That's why it's called Saw X.
Saw X. Oh, I don't know, man. Like I say, it's just one of those things where Jaws starts and finishes exactly where it's meant to. There's no need for a sequels and stuff like that, just like other films such as Saw. Now here's the point of view. Now, Hoagie here, he comes off as a bit of a lovable character, but originally intended to be a bit of a drug smuggler.
Yeah,
It was best that they got rid of that.
Yeah, Michael Caine definitely has a charm to him. Like, There's another thing here as well, obviously, with What If Stories. Obviously, Aurora was going to, as one of their side projects, as, you know, what happens to Hooper in this timeline. Because originally in the book, Hooper dies. And obviously, Richard Dreyfuss would have been a possibility to be, you know, maybe Richard Dreyfuss could be the younger boy here, you know, doing these, you know, he kind of feels like maybe was that the idea? Chief Brody dies at the start and it's not the son, it's Brody on this boat doing his research, you know what I mean? Could that have been the origins of the script?
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you wanted to really stretch it, I mean, you've got the son here. Now, what if we just replaced him altogether with Hooper?
Yeah.
And then have it so that the book connects a little bit more to the fact that, obviously, through the grieving of Chief Brody dying at the beginning, obviously Ellen and Hooper do in fact get together, which of course we know they had a bit of an affair in the book, and that would be a bit more of a sensible approach. A bit more sense anyway.
Because obviously you're going to look at Jaws 3 and go, right, how do I do Jaws 4? You know what I mean? So you're going to sort of essentially not think about following the timeline of the kids, because it's a bold move to go, right, here's Jaws 3 with the kids in fucking SeaWorld, and then this comes along and one's a copper and one's a biologist, and, you know, are we meant to believe that that's the same couple because the woman is cast quite similar, but the guy isn't, if you know what I mean? And it's like there's no acknowledgement to SeaWorld, or, you know, the kid, you know, has enough time passed for the kid to be that way. So it's one of those things where it would have been better the Brodies not being in the third one, and then you can acknowledge that. But if you were a writer going into this, you would probably go, right, you know, they seem to be throwing money around. Michael Caine's not going to be cheap. He's a credit, but you know what I mean? Rob Schneider doesn't want to do it. Think he's retired, but let's talk her out of retirement. And obviously Richard Dreyfuss as well, who we all talked about in Piranha, would come back, talk about him kind of self, but, you know, he was still trying to be quite a solid actor at that point, though, hadn't he? So
I could say, did he ever go on record with the Jaws sequels? Did he? Because I know, like, with Rob Schneider, it's almost like as famous as the film itself is, that he said he didn't want to have anything to do with any after the first one. Where did Richard Dreyfuss have any clout about that? I don't remember ever hearing about it.
I don't like Richard Dreyfuss. I think he's, you know, he would have been Spielberg through and through because of, like, Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, so he's probably very loyal to Spielberg in a way. But, like, Dreyfuss, I kind of, like, try and put, like, I can think about What About Bob, and I can think about, you know, using a few maybe gangster movies at the top of my head, but I can't reach out and think of a film with Richard Dreyfuss big in, like, the late 80s, early 90s. Maybe he's a comedy. I can't sit here and go, like, wow, that springs to mind. So, you know, he was working on solid roles, but obviously films that haven't ended up being iconic or just completely forgotten about.
Yeah.
Right, Shark's about to come.
Check to see what he was doing in 1987.
Right, the Shark's just about to turn up and go, hello.
I could say you missed the shark, though. We had a really good shot of the shark.
Oh,
which I said was a way better shot than any of the shark shots in the entirety of the third one.
Oh, has the shark appeared, has it?
Yeah, they basically just creep past the camera. Nothing involvement or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. So it doesn't really, you know what I mean? It's, you know, because it's more of a submarine. It's got no ground track on it because that's what they're showing off there. There we go.
Yeah.
Hello. Boom. Hello. Just gives it a nudge. You know, like, what the fuck? And then that is a shot from the first film. That is not new footage. That's definitely new, but
yeah. Well, I mean, Bruce did it best, really.
I mean,
Bruce
that is a completely different looking shark to what's swimming around, but that is quite a great animatronic. That
yeah.
As it's starting to eat the boat and all that, and goes back in. So, you know, That's not bad. There's a scene later on where he's in a boat ship or something. You can see all the fucking pipework sticking out the side of it. But
Yeah. So just to clarify, Mr. Dreyfuss was busy, you know. So obviously, if we consider what he was doing in 1987 when this came out, he had been in a film called Tin Men, which I haven't seen, but if IMDb to go anything about it got a 6.6. He then followed that up with Stakeout.
oh right, yeah. Stakeout and another
A
stake
little bit of a better review. It got a 6.7.
and another
He also did
stakeout. Yeah,
something called Nuts, which was 6.6. So he's
yeah,
middle of the ground.
yeah. The stakeouts. Yeah, definitely. I remember that. That's obviously teaming up with Emilio Estevez. Would have been in the right time, like so.
Yeah. Although keeping in mind the year before that, in 1986, what was he in? Very famous film. Got to a full rating of an 8.1.
Stand by Me.
Do you know Mission Stand By Me?
But yeah, again though, but like,
Wouldn't be much of a...
I'm not being funny, but like in Stand By Me, half the time it's not even him in the truck because it's some other actor from
Don't
afar.
get me wrong, that's
But it's
hand.
but
When
it's
the typing, yeah.
it's
that's it.
narrating.
Yeah. So you mentioned about, you know, making sure they're spending some money. This was allegedly 23 to 30 million dollars, and it was the most expensive movie made in 1987.
1987, eh? Fucking hell.
Let's have a look. Mostly the set is in Bahamas. The bulk of the movie was filmed in the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii, near Turtle Bay, and on the northeast side of the island.
So you're telling me
Want to know location?
Amity Island is Greenwich, isn't it? It's in. Are we talking Amity Island? Are we talking Amity Island up on the New York side of it? Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, I believe so.
So you believe so, yeah? So you're telling me the shark travels right.
Double check, yeah.
The shark travels all the way around.
Mason, how many times we're going to say it was personal? He wanted to make a point, you know. He's not going to half-ass this. He wanted to make sure that everyone knows that he's dedicated to his work.
It's
And
just
yes,
a
he
movie.
did swim all that way. But, you know, like I say at this point, you know, I don't think they're hammering away. I mean, have they actually stated that it's the same shark?
What's up
We
to say?
believe this?
Well, it's got to be.
I'm just wondering.
From panties.
But maybe it's just a friend of a friend.
Oh, just a long lost relative. I heard you kill my brother. It's not fucking Die Hard
You know,
with a
they talk to
vengeance.
each other, Echo the Dolphin playing both sides of it.
It's not fucking, you know, it's not a Gruber, like a Hans Gruber fucking brother. Fucking hell, man.
Thing is, you don't know that.
I know that fucking Hoagie's a sex pest.
The sex pest, drug dealer, all in it for the money. Who did Michael Caine after all?
Fucking lashing there, like, isn't it? Right, that's what it's like outside now.
Huh?
That's what it's like outside now.
I would say there's very much a submersive feeling. Immersive feeling.
Happy New Year, so yes. So yeah.
Time's flying. We've covered more ground.
But again, it's not like the shark's going around eating anyone because obviously it just came to see the crack, hadn't it? It had to go to the boat, but that's about it. But how long has it took the fucking shark to get around the other side of the continent?
I mean, this is it. I mean, are we... I don't know. I just don't know. It's just a movie, mate.
I never got this dice roll and stuff as well. I mean, I've never really been in a casino to play like, but you know.
I've never got the game. They always seem to like just roll a dice, and which cause all by chance. But like when you see them film, they tend to do it like several times over and over. And I was like, how is anyone that lucky? I mean, obviously not this guy. Just got snake eyes. But it's like I don't get the game. You must have to have a variation of numbers because there's no way you're going to roll the same number several times.
Happy New Year. I mean, who's watching the kids?
The the joke there I was going to say, but no, I will not. Let's have a look. Bruce the River Shark was nominated for the Golden Raspberry Award for the worst actor in this movie, thus making him the first animal nominated for the one since Jaws 3D, the Shrieking Dolphin, Cindy and Sandy.
Well, to be fair,
I
Bruce...
think that's pretty harsh, because I think this shark done a better job at doing any that the third one ever produced.
I mean, the Bruce the Shark is in the original movie. You can't call this shark Bruce. It's got to have a different name. But I don't know if you know this. Obviously, we did a video podcast, me and Jack, and I think Britt was there as well, when we watched Ghost Shark. And obviously, if you haven't seen Ghost Shark, you're not safe anywhere. A bucket of water, a bathtub, the shark is possessed. But they actually used Bruce the Shark. So the model of the ghost is Bruce the Shark. You can see it in the jawline and stuff like that.
Right.
And obviously, if you haven't seen Ghost Shark, yeah, like the shark's going around murdering people and slipping slides and stuff like that. And it's Jaws, and it's done in such an homage to how bad these films are. So
yeah, that's true. Although, just making a point that this is the only Jaws film that doesn't take place in summertime.
I mean, it's in the Bahamas. It's going to be hard to gauge that, isn't it? But yeah, it's obviously set at Christmas, isn't it?
Well, their summer's going to be anybody's. Well, sorry, their winter's going to still look like anyone's summer.
I don't find her attractive, but what I do find about her is a bit of a Sigourney Weaver vibe. She's got very similar mannerisms, I think. Do you think?
Yeah, I'll give you that, yeah. There is a masculinity to it, and it's like, I don't know, like, there's never going to be a damsel in distress, are there?
I mean, it's a very...
It's weird, this scene, though, because you've got the mother and the son dancing, yet the wife to the son is given a glaring look as if to say she's being jealous of sorts. I found that strange.
Is it, again, though, it's sort of like you look at this set and you look at all the extras and how complex this could be, where it could be completely like just stripped back to save budget.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a dark secret.
Haven't we all?
On the boat. The boat they're going to use at the end. Obviously, the shark roars in this, and which obviously the shark does roar in the original because that's Spielberg putting his twist and sort of homage to Dune on there as well. You know, the shark roaring as the truck roars. Do you rate Mario Van Peebles much?
Trying to think of, is he in NCIS as well?
Is he? Don't think so.
I don't know.
Mario Van Peebles is obviously directs a lot as well as produces a lot. He's in Highlander 3, he's in New Jack City. He's in a really bad film called Solo. He had quite a big like action kind of he took a lot of roles Wesley Snipes didn't want, I think, in the mid-90s. You know, he established himself as a bit of an action star, did the film Posse, which he directed. Reunited with Wesley Snipes in a film called Hard Luck, which I couldn't wait to see because New Jack City is fucking amazing. Hard Luck is absolutely disgraceful. It's just like, what the fuck, man.
Apparently he wrote all of his own lines in this.
Yeah, he's obviously his dad was his dad's been in loads as well, so he's kind of been brought up in the industry as well. But he's just kind of he does do a lot of he works, and I think a lot of the things he works on, he puts money back into stuff in favours of that. But this is one of his bigger films, you know what I mean, like the established like sidekick.
Yeah.
Have you seen New Jack City?
Going to his, is that the one with let me think of his name. That the one where it's not Dave Chappelle, is it? No.
No.
No, that's another one I'm thinking of. I know it's definitely not that one. I mean, I know it's Wesley Snipes, but there's someone else in it that kind of gets referred to.
Ice-T.
A black actor who like had an up and coming.
Ice-T.
He was like one of his first major ones.
Chris Rock.
Was it Chris Rock? Was it?
Yeah.
The crack addict.
Yeah.
He's always like running around.
Pookie.
I mean, it's not a spoiler now, but like, it's either one. He gets killed, didn't he?
Yeah.
I vaguely have like spots of it. I know I've definitely seen it, but if like for some reason that character, because he was like almost like the comedy relief sort of thing, so I think it was always like a surprise to me that he actually got killed. But yeah, so in turn, yes, I've seen it.
I mean,
Although it might be worth a podcast because I don't think I recall that much about it.
Well, the thing is with that, it's more a case of he does a really good commentary on it as well. But like, you know, he also did stuff like really full of clips and stuff like that. He did some really bad stuff in the early like DVD release, straight to DVD and all that. But as I said, he's a very clued on that. But you know, I think he's directed a lot more. But I think he got into TV more, I think. But hang on, I can have a look on IMDb as long as I keep my phone quite steady.
Well, I was just looking at Mario Van Peebles. It's not the one I thought it was, but he didn't Last Action Hero. I don't recall that. Did he play the sergeant? No.
Mario Van Peebles is not in fucking Last Action Hero.
Yes, he's called. Well, it's a very interesting name because he's called Melvin Van Peebles. So it's not even like pretend to have a character name. Unless maybe he's on the red carpet, scene at the end.
Oh, he might.
A few like known people on there, no? They don't really get a role. It's just like happen to be there.
Yeah, I think he might be the red carpet with Damon Wayans. He is in CSI Vegas. He's only been in one episode. Directing.
Yeah.
Directing though. Involved in Power. Star Armed. See, Armed, there's a fucking random one he brought out. 3.5. Hand of God. Oh yeah, so TV series as well. So you know he's directed quite a bit. You know, he's even directed episodes of Lost. Sons of Anarchy as well. Like, but there you go. There's that hard look. That was pants. But yeah, he appeared in a lot of like bootleggy kind of things. But yeah, he's obviously been brought up and around it. So we're going to get some more shark footage here as they're going to try and stab the shark and lure him over. And you can see for miles there, like, can't you? I mean, if you were staring out in that void and then suddenly the shark was like, surprise, you'd be like, fucking hell. But again, what we had with I mean, you see it coming a mile away. You know, it's just going to glide past, isn't it? Are you ready? Get your fucking chum in there. How the fuck you lost it? It's not that big.
You what?
He just like disappeared, hasn't it? It's going to peek up on the minute. Here it comes. Surprise! Stab it. Kind of almost feels like that there was kind of what you would get at Universal Studios, it popping up on that side angle.
Yeah.
So maybe it could have been a bit better way to stab the shark. Like, I mean, that was pretty, you know, where's you actually planning on, yeah, you're going to lure him and all that insane, but...
Yeah.
Now the shark has got its coil on.
Oh, he's pissed off now, though. Or is it a she? I don't know.
Oh, this is going to make us hungry. See, the thing is, right, everyone listen to this podcast. Me and Carl did the one yesterday. We went to see Ian Edmondson last night, and Carl was like, right, you know, we'll do the podcast. And Mitch was saying, I'll pop over. And I've been talking to Mitch most of the day. Carl's been having a wall built. And then all of a sudden, Carl's like, right, we'll do it. I'm like, I'm fucking starving now.
Well, you know, you missed a bit out where you said, oh, you did, because I hadn't replied. Although I honestly looked at that message, I thought, oh, he's trying a picture of a dog. That was it. I didn't see the message above it, so it's just like, all right. So I always didn't know when you say you did, it implied that you've at least tried to message me, and I haven't responded. So I had to go and check back on it. But yeah, I was literally sitting on the couch thinking, what am I going to watch tonight? So that's why I said I already had Jaws: The Revenge out from this morning. Because obviously, what they're doing the wall, everything I own is pretty much in my living room, covering up most of my Blu-rays. So I had to do a bit of digging this morning just in case you happen to ring and say, let's do it.
Well, you know why? I mean, I didn't have to do that. Do you know why? Because I've got a box set of 2, 3 and 4, as we talked yesterday, because obviously you won't get a box set with all 4 of them in. But some daft bastard owns Jaws: The Revenge on Steelbook. Has all 4 Jaws on Steelbook. Bad, that mind.
You know what's interesting is I will redact what I mentioned in the Jaws 3 podcast, which was I did it to be a completist and that they all match. They don't fucking match. I got one out this morning, and I was like, look, and I was like, I mean, fucking Jaws 1's a Japanese version, so that's got like Jaws and the Japanese characters on the side. The Jaws 2 one has a similar colour scheme to Jaws: The Revenge, but not Jaws 3. So really, out of the 4 of them, I think each one looked completely differently. I would say that my point was that the front covers have all got the appeal to the similar art style, which I still stand by. I mean, don't get me wrong, as someone who watches a shit ton of movies, one of the things I love about movies is the art. And I do appreciate a bit of artwork. And although the original artwork for the VHS are all very fine and good as ever, I just thought, yeah, I'm tempted. I'll buy into the steelbooks because, like I say, didn't have them all. I don't believe I had Jaws 1, that was it. But I had none of the other ones, so I'd never got a double dip. I thought, you know what, I don't own them. And I think they were relatively cheap as well, mind. I will go on record, Savvy being the very interesting company that either gives you a pretty decent deal and everyone seemed to be happy with them, and then flip it on you and become the worst company ever. But I believe they're only like $16.99 each, which, sure, for a Blu-ray it's probably standard, but a steelbook for the time when they were coming out, they were knocking out at least 25 quid plus, depending on the nature of the film.
Well, we were talking about this today with Zavi. It's like they don't do soundtracks anymore, even though Battletoads might reappear. But like,
I think they lost a lot of the rights. For all intents and purposes, there are a couple of NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures on there still, but like at the height, about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they had loads and they all disappeared. And then I reckon they're probably getting away with saying, listen, whatever we've got left in stock, we'll sell. But that's it, because they seem to have lost a lot of the licenses that they were originally selling. So my guess is that they have been cleared out. Like,
well, another thing, I mean, we talked about this today. I got annoyed because obviously the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles steelbook's coming out, and it's not out yet. It's not out to buy, and they've got it recommended retail price at $59.99, slashed the price to $34.99, and that's bullshit. It's not been out to buy. It's never been £60 for the steelbook, and it's just that bullshit they promote online like that, where you think, you know, so it's got to be out at a price for you then to start slashing it in half.
Yeah. Although I would also say, if you put into categories of film that is new and released, films that are only within one film of the box, we're not talking box sets and stuff like that, you name me another film that's come out, I would even give you 20 years, that came out that instantly went to £60. There's not a single Blu-ray out there that ever sold for £60 on its release date that had only got one film and one disc in.
Yeah.
So it's all bullshit, it's all marketing. They want you to think that you're getting a deal.
The only thing recently...
Do it for years. You can have your couch for under £1,000. It'll only cost you £999.
There is a film recently called Cocaine Bear that for some reason went up to $36.99 on 4K after it came out, and that's nothing to do with any company that's a supplier, but that's kind of like feels like it's a fault in the some of that hasn't been clocked on, but like prices do push up, but not like when shit hasn't come out. Back to the movie as well, though. Here we go. We're about to have a throwback to obviously the original movie and establishing this, to me, establishes he's the younger brother.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's almost, it's like recreating that moment that he had with his dad, which obviously he didn't.
But that's not the brother. That's not the brother, though, is it? The brother who. So hang on. This is going to get me. So is the brother him? So the brother, the kid in the original movie, he's doing it. Is that the younger brother of the two?
Yes.
So that means.
Well, it's a flashback.
Well, that means he's the younger brother. So that means he's not Dennis Quaid.
That would be a good point, but I assumed he was the older brother.
I would assume he's the older brother, but the flashback footage they're showing, and I don't know if it's going to cut back to here.
No, I mean, he cast as Michael Brody. Nah, hold on a minute. Michael, is he not the youngest? No. It couldn't make no sense either way you look at it, because he could either be the youngest brother now, which explains this entire scene.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because he's recreating what he did with his dad. But then why on earth would she have a memory of her husband and him at the funeral of the other son? If she's going to have a flashback, you're going to have a flashback of the other son.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, again, they can say, "Oh, I used to do it to all these kids and all that," but it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, because Sean. No, now I'm thinking about it, Sean is definitely the older brother. Sean's the eldest child. Michael's the one crying in the first film when he's on his own.
On the beach.
Yeah, because I remember Ellen's like obviously shouting Michael. I can hear it in my head right now, yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I was looking through some facts.
No, Michael's the one in the boat.
Even the director had stated that everyone involved in this film thought the script had gone through several patches, and apparently everyone had even thought the whole idea of the shark being on a revenge tour was such a ridiculous concept, but I think they were all so surprised that the studio had greenlit it that they just went, fuck it, let's go for it.
Yeah, because I was saying, like, because
it's a little bit of a mess in terms of what it's trying to be.
It's Michael in the boat, when she shouts, "Michael, you heard your father." So so Michael's the older brother.
Yeah, Michael's the older one, Sean the younger one. I mean, who knows? Maybe Michael was in the same room, you were just off shot. That's why he's recreating it, that whole recreation of a scene. I mean, we know what they're doing it for. They're doing it for nostalgia. We know that. But as a film, really, it shouldn't really have done that, because it doesn't necessarily have...
To be honest with you, except for Dirty Harry, which comes to mind, not many films really got 4 films back in the day.
Well, I mean, this shouldn't have. Like I say, that's the whole point. I don't think this should have. I mean, that's because most people accept that once you get the 4th one, unless it's a Friday the 13th, it's just not going to work. Because,
I mean, alright, Friday the 13th.
I mean,
they were getting on.
But then again, but Friday the 13th, I mean, I would argue and say, don't get me wrong, I love an 80s, 70s horror slasher. I don't care how stupid they can be, and I don't care how campy they are, but with Friday the 13th, as much as I enjoy them, it's the same film every time. Obviously, once you get past the 3rd one, it becomes Jason Voorhees, but it's the same concept. Children, camp, all going to get picked off, one survivor. So you can get away with that.
Yeah, I mean, Friday the 13th...
trying to actually establish themselves as 4 different films in one universe.
Well, that's it. Friday the 13th should have really ended for. Now here comes the shark, fucking waggling around, bang. I mean, he doesn't even look like he's in there.
But again, I don't mind this. This is a really good shot of the shark. Again, this absolutely, I can't believe they're actually saying that he deserves a raspberry. He's actually performing really well right now. He's clear. He's quite scary. I mean, you know for a fact if you were sitting in that submarine, you'd be caking it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right. Well, we need to watch this because
better built than the one that went with the Titanic. Jesus.
you need to watch it for when he goes to the obviously cave here and it goes stalking him, because there's a scene where you see it and you can see all the pipe work clear as day. I mean, you know, doing the blue water, they went for warm water as well, which obviously is to help with all the animatronics and stuff freezing up there. But to me, it's going along there. The shark's coming along on its own go. Should have it really kind of in the background, you know. So obviously they're just kind of like going in close-up shots, you know. I just want to point. I want to point out these pipe works, so you need to watch this. There he goes.
Because it is very bright as well, though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously in the Bahamas, they're seeing it a bit more exotic, but they're not hiding from anything here.
Right.
Which I kind of almost respect.
Keep your eyes ready for it. I mean, the sharks can't be that big to go in there, but the sharks, you know, that's a real shark going up. No, it's not. I think that's actually a model. It's just a model. But again, it's a working submarine, this one. You know what I mean? It's kind of, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The technology was a little bit different. But yeah, it's suddenly, I don't know if he goes past it and there it is. No, it's going to go in there. It's having a little fucking stalk going down. You would cake it, like, you would absolutely cake it if it was coming for you like that.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
So, yeah, because it comes looming out, it comes out the shadows here.
Yeah.
Like, creeping along. The old can't get out the rusted door kind of thing. You can see the track underneath it there if you went back and looked really good. You know, it's almost got him. He gets through the door. Not a bad shot there, the door there screaming.
Yeah.
You're not going to see this shot now, isn't it? There's the sub. Fucked. Look at them fucking 80s visors, man. Everyone remembers them.
Oh, you need to be a cool kid to pull off a visor like that.
You do, I. Right here, keep your eyes on the bottom left. You can see all the pipe work, clear as day, fucking jacking that thing in. You missed it, didn't you? You had one job,
No,
Carl.
I can see it, yeah, all the pipes, yeah. There's tubes and everything. To the left side.
Yeah. But yeah.
Although unforgivable, because that could have just been wreckage, really. It's only there because you notice it, but if you consider it as a one-time view, I'm looking at that thing and that could just be wreckage next to the shark.
See, I always remember Jaws being the very first DVD I ever owned, and when you had a DVD player back in the day, I always remember being quite fascinated by the shark. I still think the most terrifying image in the original Jaws is when the guy gets, when you see it curl under him when he's on the boat before you get the kill. But there's a scene where I remember in the cage scenes near the end with Richard Dreyfuss and stuff like that, I remember pausing it and you've been able to zoom in, and if you the screen's that wide on obviously the DVD, you can actually see like the leg the shark was actually on, you know, and just being like that. I always just been fascinated about what DVDs, and like I love commentaries. I love extra features. I think it's bull when a DVD suddenly just gets a play button. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it was an interesting time because I just started, like, kind of... I see I was probably leaning towards my PlayStation 2 over my films, so I ended up getting to watch a lot of the DVD from my brother. So his first 2 DVDs ever that I watched at the same time was The Matrix and The Faculty.
Yeah.
But you don't think The Faculty gets enough credit?
I ordered in The Faculty at work. You're right. It's kind of, I mean, it's a Robert Rodriguez and it's a Kevin Williamson production, so it's kind of like, you know, and it's the reason why Josh Hartnett's probably why Josh Hartnett's that, and Elijah Wood's in there. There's a lot of cast in it.
There's a lot of people in there that you would see in the future, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's as I say, I ordered it in, and like it's got a very like dull box because like on VHS, you know, you had your cat. I mean, I think Josh Hartnett's leading it. Elijah Wood's behind him. Obviously, Elijah Wood become the bigger star. I mean, Elijah Wood essentially is the star of the movie, but Josh Hartnett after Halloween H2O. But the Blu-ray.
He's slightly older, isn't he? So he's got more of the heartthrob look.
Yeah, well, obviously
the front cover at least.
The Blu-ray is totally stripped of colour, man. Like, the cover is just really dark and really crap compared to what it was on VHS. But again, me personally, didn't know anything about the Fatality. I mean, you either got the trailer or you didn't get the trailer. It depends on what it was trailered on. You would go to the video shop and you would, like, take a risk on these movies. And you love these movies for the reason of loving these movies. Now that there, when that fucking eel popped out, that was better than an eel popping out there, and that was better 3D technology than Jaws 3.
Listen, that money shot at the end, that was just glorious for all the wrong reasons.
We're about to get one of the most brutal deaths of the series as well, with a banana boat. Some poor bugger.
Yeah.
So the death rating here is not massive, you know what I mean, but...
Yeah. Don't think I've ever been on a banana boat.
So would you be still alive yet, Carl? Because we established you survived Jaws 3D, didn't we?
Well, I did survive Jaws 3, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have been in the first boat on the first one, so I reckon I'm safe there. The second movie, I'm thrown about. At the moment, I'm still being a pest at SeaWorld, bumping into everyone. But, you know, obviously there's just been a little bit of a floating contraption going past the banana boat there for a second. I reckon I'm on that at the moment.
They are just like...
The little cycle. Can you see that now?
Yeah.
That's the cycle. That's where I am.
But again... If you look at the character, right, she's making this model, everyone's just like, oh my god, look at that model, and oh my god, look at all the cast and crew looking at her and them glasses. She's meant to be a marine biologist in the last one, and now she's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's an artist.
And,
Is it the same last song?
well, this is it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like she is like.
I mean, they've gone very generically blonde girl of the 80s, so.
Oh, here comes the shark tail, though. But again, here we're about to have a big. This is something that the third movie didn't have at all, utilising the big shark in a mass crowd effect. You know, this is panic here, but you know, everyone's sitting there. Fuck me, that wind's getting up there.
Yeah. This is where I was winning because it's been slightly hearing impaired. It's not too bad.
But yeah, banana boat death. Kind of like.
That's a hell of a shot. Such a good shot.
Pretty is a good. I mean, that is pretty gruesome. I think the shark itself's pretty high. You know what I mean, but. You know, fair play. Like, I mean, that shot there when it looks back and she's getting eaten alive, probably the shot of the movie, that one, and that there when she's dragging him down, because that's a bit, you know, what you don't see in the original movie and stuff like that. So, you know, the third movie didn't have that. We talked about that yesterday with the third one. The best scene of that when it comes creeping out the shadows. You know what I mean? And that's another brutal death.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, I say it's almost like the third one was like a PG, like it was literally a family-friendly version of Jaws.
Well, this is it, and now it's on.
Other than the floating arm at the beginning, that was capitalised on the 3D. It didn't seem to be very many gory shots, whereas if you go back to the first film, when that McKinnon boy gets chewed up, that was fairly graphic. Or essentially when the girl at the beginning gets eaten up, you see her body later on. It's like almost horror-esque style, but...
Now, she don't have a plan here. She's straight in the fucking boat. And, I mean, at the end of the day, now we are fast-tracking towards the end of this movie, in a way, because she is basically, no plan, I'm just going to go out there on a boat. And that's how sloppy the script really is.
Yeah.
again, I do like the score.
Oh yeah.
I always remember finding Jaws 2 on vinyl, original release, which has a very unorthodox front cover for Jaws, because Jaws 2, it has a couple in a boat, which you don't normally see, and the shark coming up from above.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I found it on Hex and Boot sale for 50 pence. I was getting, oh, how much have you got? Oh, 50p. I was like, fuck me, that's Jaws 2. You don't see that very often.
It's strange now that I'm watching this scene when he's discovered that she's been attacked by a shark. That's come right back to me for some reason. That's like, I thought, I remember this scene so well. Although I will confirm, Dr. Catherine Morgan was the blonde interest in Jaws 3D, whereas this lady is called Carla, so different blonde.
But how
It didn't work out with the doctor.
But he's not the same character in it now. He can run like fucking hell.
Oh, the whole Brody family can run on sand. It's unbelievable.
I mean, where's he going to get to on that boat? Right, you need to hold the fort because I have to go to the toilet for a wee.
Alright, no bother.
I apologise.
I apologise. Watching Ellen Brody cruise through the oceans on a toad in a ship that's no more bigger, if anything smaller, than Orca. And of course, we're now bringing everyone together because Mike is now on the waters as well. Hoagie's now being introduced to the scene. But so far, yeah, I give this a fairly higher score than the third one. But it definitely has something to it. Again, obviously, when we're talking about how the director was like, sure, we're not really sure what we're making, you know, as far as plot goes. But I still buy this way more than the third one, so who knows? Can't wait for Jaws 19, because that's when it really is personal.
Well, I said this on the podcast yesterday, and I'll say this again. I get the Jaws box set in now and again, but I get Jaws The Revenge in on Blu-ray, and it fucking sells every time.
Well, yeah, this kind of. Do you not think this is like the Temple of Doom of the Jaws film? This is the one that was shown on TV way more than the others.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
see, I can recall the scene, like I say, with Hoagie and his airplane, like almost synonymous with Harrison Ford getting his heart taken out. You know, in Temple of Doom, it's almost like the scenes that you remember the most. That being said, it is also, I don't know, Jaws The Revenge. The only one without a number in as well, isn't it?
I mean, she gets
Jaws
she
1, 2,
sees
and
this.
3D, but then we have Jaws, no 4, just Jaws The Revenge.
Oh, that's it. It's not Jaws 4.
Nah.
But again, calling it Jaws 4 kind of goes, well, you can miss the third one.
Yeah, this is it, yeah. Well, because really, I think it's only because of the play on the number that is it really Jaws 3, or is it just because it was Jaws 3D that got the title? So I feel like 3D is not necessarily that is more the title than the actual number, if that makes sense.
So she gets the shark and it sees it
When
coming.
you think of Rambo 1, you don't ever think of Rambo 1.
It's called First Blood.
Called First Blood.
But what's her plan?
But
She's
it's
got.
First Rambo.
Shut up, man.
Come get me, you son of a bitch.
I mean, that's
Quite
not.
as effective a smile, you son of a bitch, but you know.
That's a nice shot from afar when you see the shark on the boat from afar. But to see the fucking. What's her plan? What is her plan there? Stand and just get eaten and over with?
I think she's drawing it out because she obviously believes the shark is trying to get her. In her mental state right now, I think she thinks that. So I think there's a level of where she's sitting there going, if I just draw the shark out into the deep seas, maybe it will save everyone. Maybe it will be a bit more about a heroic moment of me sacrificing myself to bring the shark away from everyone. Possibly.
So they now have to crash the aeroplane here. Now, this is the point where you think, right, who the fuck's gonna survive this? Because like the first two, they're now and fully out there in like no safety zone, and you think who's gonna die? Now, in theory, none of them die. So the kill rate in this movie is only 2, isn't it? The chief.
So we've got the girl in a banana boat
Yep.
who's just recently died,
And
and
then-
then you've got Sean at the beginning.
That's it.
Yeah. All right.
So Harrogate, obviously they've got the aeroplane in the water. You know, they all get on the boat. Boat's a bit damaged at the back. And we also get obviously the Michael Caine's dead but not dead. Because he kind of like, when you get like, you see an actor bill like that and Michael Caine, you think, oh, he's expendable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's kind of in it for like, oh, he's going to be in it for briefly. He's, you know, but again, he always says like, you know, he got a holiday in the Bahamas and filmed it. Now the Sharks just took out an airplane, so the Sharks, you know, kills a helicopter, which is quite a deleted scene in the second one, isn't it? The helicopter scene.
Yeah. See, even watching that would make me think, is he dead though?
But he comes up the other side of the boat, doesn't he?
Rules in it, you've got to see them die before you actually believe they are.
Well, yeah, he pops up the other side of the boat. As I said, we'll go in because I don't know which ending this is going to play. See, we're essentially watching the same Blu-ray, so we might end up having a cuckoo here where it plays a completely different ending to each other, which we shouldn't.
Could be. No, it shouldn't, but you know, stranger things have happened.
But I don't think I've seen Michael in anything since. You know, I think it's kind of like, you know, he seems to have like, he's going to be in something obvious, isn't he? But he kind of like,
Well, I'm going to double check for you now.
well, Hoagie's still alive.
Yeah. It's Michael Caine. Of course he's alive. I apologise for that one.
Ha!
Lance Guest. Name didn't ring a bell, but I'm sure. Let's have a quick look. So, let's see. The Last Starfighter.
Yep.
That pops up straight away. Halloween 2.
All right, okay.
He is still an active actor. In 2023, he came out with Altered Perception. Last year, he did a TV series called The Patient. But as far as like well-known, I mean, let's say this is 87 in it, so let's see what came after that.
I mean, when you top of your resume is Jaws the Revenge, people are going to get,
So this was his only film this year, in 1987. In 1988, he did a film called The Wizard of Loneliness, which gained a 5.9 rating on IMDb. There's a couple of TV series, actually, so it goes on TV mostly. You know, The Wonder Years being one of probably the most prominent ones. I don't know any of the other ones.
Yep.
He does, in fact, star in one episode of The X-Files. It's a good episode as well because it's an 8.6.
A lot of the X-Files are quite highly rated, though.
I'm going to say I vaguely remember seeing an episode or two. It was not something I watched a lot of, so I don't know. Party of Five, if you remember that old classic chestnut.
Neve Campbell, innit?
Aye, yeah. Becca, that was Ted Danson. That
No.
was a pretty big TV series. Then, yeah, NYPD Blue, he did House, he did Jag. So to be fair, I think he is probably one of those actors that has comfortably lived just below the limelight. I
Yeah.
don't think he's ever had like a massive breakout role, but that being said, I think he's probably been a very comfortable actor given how much he's been actively going.
I mean, if he was at one of these conventions, I would get Jaws the Revenge signed, just for like,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Get Michael Caine in there as well.
Well, that's my 6th degree of separation in the movie business, Michael Caine. How can I get to an actor within 6 moves so I can get to him in one? Obviously, Keith Bell produced The Tournament, and Harry Brown and Gary Young, who unfortunately passed away this year, wrote Harry Brown and had some good nights with him. He was quite a funny, crazy guy, but he had crazy blonde dreads. But obviously, Michael Caine being a big part of Harry Brown.
Yeah. This is a big nod to the first film as well, you know, him sitting on the front of a boya with his spear ready.
Well, that's it. Now, there's 2 different cuts coming here because he essentially gets killed here.
Yeah.
Now, it just depends on which version of the film we're watching. So there you go. It goes in and then he falls in. Slow motion, so obviously the actors are swinging on there. And then boom, he's gone. So let's see how this ends, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'll let you know when it happens. See, it depends on how the shark's going to die. So we've got 2 things that change here. Van Peebles is essentially dead now, right?
Yeah.
And if this is the cut we're on about, you see him getting dragged off there. And he's gone. Oh, no, he's getting a big murder in there.
Yeah, you can still see him.
Yeah.
I mean, this is... I don't know. No, he's still alive there. He's clearly struggling. It's definitely going to get into Gary Busey territory.
Piss off.
But he was definitely actively alive the last time we saw him. So I would say it's still kind of believable.
Well, it just depends on which version.
So torso bites are going to be fairly fatal.
Right, so okay, so you got the spike at the end here. I mean, we're at pretty much the end of this movie now, because she's just going to blatantly... Now, one thing you need to look here, between the cuts here, is the colour of the water. You've got the cosmic blue, which Michael Caine, you can see there now. And then you look... There's the shark footage, that's a different thing. But look at some of the close-ups, you've got to look for... And then, how the fuck does she know what her son was like when he got killed? Like, why do we get that flashback there?
Well, this is what kind of debunks the first one, isn't it? So, is it really... I don't know. Is it... I don't want to say is it a flashback, because it is, physically. We are going back in time. She also wasn't there when he shot the shark either.
No.
So, I believe that we have to establish that this is the film's way of saying, again, I believe this one was fully intended to be the very last one. I think the film in this and the way they've edited this, and that's especially the editing as well, maybe not intentional at the first. Maybe all those scenes have been added once the film was finished, because, again, it was like kind of going, you know, this is the last one, and we want to go back and do a little bit of a tribute, we'll say. Well,
the shark's roaring away in the background there. So you need to look at how it happens. So he's like making it raw. Again, I was on about the colour of the water. I don't think it's obvious here. So it creeps up very close there, right? Ready? It's about to stab the shark, right? Smile, you son of a bitch. Stabs the shark. The shark explodes. That shark is just absolutely exploded on impact. Which makes you think, what the fuck? Now here, as it cuts away, they're falling in the water, right? That is from the original Jaws movie. When that shark's going down, there's the rope in its mouth. That is footage from the original shark. This is not the version I seen as a kid. Now, look at the background and look at the stillness of the water. That is a tank. They're now in a tank.
Oh, I mean, that's a painting, yeah.
Yeah, you can see that's a painting. You can see the colour blue water. And then Mario Van Peebles is still alive. So Mario Van Peebles is floated in there, right?
Yeah.
And this isn't the version I remember as a kid. Mario Van Peebles was dead. And you can tell by the blueness of the water. That is dark dye blue, you know?
Yeah.
But to me, I think...
I think this must be the only one I've seen, because now that I'm watching it, I do remember Van Peebles just floating around and being like, oh yeah, that's a bit of a...
But why does the shark explode? It makes no fucking sense why that shark just imploded on impact.
The thing is, though, now you mentioned there that it was the same footage from the first one. Now I may be wrong, but when that shark was going down, obviously in bits, there was what looked like a clear piece of wood stuck out the side of it, which implied that that isn't reshot. It is in fact a new scene. Maybe they just really went with a very similar shot.
Well, what we'll do is we'll watch it because this film's done now. They're getting on a plane. Hopefully, they're going to move to a city where there's no water ever again.
New York.
And then there's an interesting shot through the blades. But so, how many banana boats out of 5?
Now, before I mention this, did you actually give a rating for Jaws 3?
2.
I don't believe you did.
It was 2. Well, I went with you.
2, did you?
You went for 1 and I went for 2.
Oh, right, no, I may have just totally forgot about. I just thought about it the other day yesterday. I was like, I don't know if he actually gives his rating. So okay, what am I going to give Banana Boat? I think this is a massive step up from the third film. This, although as bonkers as it is, and it still really doesn't feel like a Jaws film, it still felt more like a Jaws film than the third one. So it gets points there. I think a fair assessment would be, out of 10, I think I'm going right down the middle. I think I'm going to give it 5 banana boats out of 5.
Hell. 5 banana boats out of 8? You mean 5 out of 10?
I don't think it was any fun in the last one. The last one wasn't fun to watch. It was more like how ridiculous is it getting. There are scenes in this and there's elements of the storytelling that I don't mind. So I reckon down the middle.
5 out of 10. Young Sean got a credit there for the flashback footage, but I didn't see Roy Schneider. But it's established there that Sean is the brother at the table, not him. So that fucking scene between the parents doesn't make sense. Right, so go back to the DVD menu, because obviously that is just going to play along. Where you get here over Harpoon.
Extras.
Yes, it's a shitty Universal one.
Alternative ending.
Alternative ending. So press play now. So this is the alternative ending. So I actually did
with
this.
A nice boat floating. There we go.
So back to the boat floating. She's going to be driving. Hoagie's probably dissing out water still. There he is.
Yep.
Is Michael. So Mario Van Peebles at this point is already maybe he's off the boat, I'm guessing. I mean, hopefully not, because
he must be.
Because that just looks like this.
Is jarring now.
I mean, that scene there looked like it when it was stalking her from behind, before they even landed. That bit there, this footage there, is because it depends on how damaged the boat is. So yeah, so Mario Van Peebles has been eaten at this point. He's off. Hoagie's throwing water. Here comes the shark. Are we going to get flashbacks?
Flashback. Yeah.
Yeah, flashback to Sean. So that's Sean crying for help. Do we need that? No.
The banana boat one's weird, yeah, because she didn't really know these people. You can imagine her imagining what Sean was doing when he died.
Yeah.
You could probably push it and say that's what she thought of it. Obviously, Chief Brody must have told her several times how he did it, so she was probably imagining what he was doing.
Even if they did...
We're just having very clear visuals.
Yeah, even if they had the actor going, help me, mum, like footage you didn't see before, but... So anyway, this is where the film's totally different. Obviously, instead of the shark blowing the fuck up, as it does, it gets harpooned, and it takes half the boat with it, and it falls to its death that way. So hopefully we're going to get that here.
Which is massively more logical.
Well, why does the shark explode? Doesn't make any sense.
There's no reason for it to blow up, yeah. I mean, that being said, though, it's the 80s, barely, but it's the 80s. Didn't everything, like cars, blew up in the 80s that had no logical reason for blowing up.
Right, so here we go. Smile, you son of a bitch. And then instead of explode on impact, boom, stabbed. Shark's got blood coming out of its mouth. Like, you know, I mean, this is what I remember as a kid. You know, because it's harpooned the shark completely through. And then that scene there, which is a big scene. Obviously, that's not Michael Caine running off the boat. And then it falls to its death. Like that, you know, half the boat stuck to it. Which is a far better ending.
I was so going to say, I would now essentially say this. If you went with that ending, I would say it's a 5.5 out of 10.
But
I'd give it an extra couple of points because that just makes so much more sense. And it looks better. You know, the idea of a shark blowing up, that's the first one.
But the idea with this, though...
Intentionally...
But Mario Van Peebles is dead now. So, because, obviously...
Yeah.
But there's no reason for Mario Van Peebles not to be alive after that.
Well, listen, it didn't change anything about what happened to his character. So he should still be alive in theory.
Well, but in theory he's not. I mean, but that is definitely the ending I remember as a kid, the whole harpooning. But it's just it's just crazy to think that they did that.
I've seen both, but I feel like the first scene, the one that I went with, is the one that I feel was the definitive ending in my eyes. And once I've seen the deleted scene there again, I've seen that before.
But in my opinion as well, well, that could essentially be what they would call the TV cut back in the 80s because it's less blood.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Well,
listen, because even when he's blown up and he's sinking, there's literally no red on the screen. Where that alternative ending was very bloody, it's bright red, and it's all over us.
But it is far better than Jaws 3, and this is the second time I've done a podcast for this, and as the late Richard Jennings had said, why the fuck would you watch Jaws 4 more than once? You know what I mean? It's a stupid, which is a really good stand-up skit if you ever get to see it online. As I said, we've eventually finished the Jaws, and now we are now open. So, getting me called to get...
Wait. Are we not doing Jaws 19?
It doesn't exist.
But I thought it was really personal. That second time I used that joke. I don't want to do it again. But yeah, we are 3 years.
But that door opens the door now for us to actually go right. And I'm just so fucking happy right now that after a year, I no longer have to look at my second screen and see the Jaws box set underneath there, because obviously I just want to put it away. And I'm happy to say that we've now completed the Jaws quadrilogy.
We have, yes, and we've done quite a few series of films, haven't we, so far on the podcast, so that is a milestone to tick off.
Indiana Jones, we've done all the Police Academies, we've done the Batmans, the original run.
Jurassic Parks, yeah.
The original trilogy of Jurassic Park. We haven't touched on the Jurassic World yet. We've never got around to doing Waterworld.
Never got what, sorry?
Got around to doing Waterworld, have I, so...
You know, that's got to be like an anniversary. There's got to be an event for Waterworld. I feel like it's been built up too much now.
Yeah, well, Paul Ray, trying to get Paul Ray back. Obviously, we've done the Ghostbusters, but for now, thank you very much for listening, and goodbye for now.